gold. You cannot eat it. You cannot drink it. If you were stranded on a deserted island, a mountain of gold bars would be worthless compared to a single loaf of bread. And yet, for over 5,000 years, humanity has slaughtered millions, razed cities and crossed treacherous oceans, just to possess this yellow metal. Why? Is this obsession merely greed? Or is it a command, programmed into our DNA? By the gods who came from the stars? We are about to uncover the truth. But first, let's leave a legacy of our own. Hit that subscribe button right now. For every new follower, we pledge to plant 1 tree. Join the mission. Save the past, save the planet. Now, let's open the files. Part 1. The Lost Fuel, Lake GUATAVITA. To understand this mystery, we must first travel back in time. We must go to a place where gold was not money, but something else entirely. The year is 1545. The Spanish conquistadors are hacking their way through the dense, suffocating jungles of South America. They are driven by a single, feverish rumor. They are looking for El Dorado, the Gilded One. When they finally arrived in the territory of the Muisca people in present-day Colombia, they witnessed a ritual that defied all human logic. Picture this. A chieftain stands on the edge of a sacred crater lake, Lake GUATAVITA. He is stripped naked, his body coated in sticky resin, and blown over with fine gold dust until he shines like a living statue of the sun. He boards a raft piled high with emeralds and gold artifacts. He rows to the exact center of the dark, freezing water. And then, he jumps. He washes the gold off his body. Behind him, his people throw precious golden objects, masks, statues, jewelry, into the abyss, until he shines like a living statue of the sun. He boards a raft piled high with emeralds and gold artifacts. He rows to the exact center of the dark, freezing water. And then, he jumps. He washes the gold off his body. Behind him, his people throw precious golden objects, masks, statues, jewelry, into the abyss. The Spanish were horrified. To them, this was madness. Why take the most valuable substance on Earth, a metal that men kill for, and simply throw it away? For centuries, historians told us this was a spiritual offering. They said the Muisca were appeasing a water goddess. But look closer. The Muisca did not view gold as currency. They didn't use it to buy land or food. They called it the sweat of the sun. They believed it possessed a vibrational energy, a direct link to the gods. But what if we view this through a 21st century lens? What if I told you that Lake GUATAVITA is not just a lake? Geologically, the lake is almost perfectly circular, with steep walls resembling a crater or a docking bay. Ancient alien theorists have proposed a startling possibility, that the bottom of this lake was a base for unidentified submersible objects, USOs. Think about the properties of gold. It is one of the best conductors of electricity in the universe. It is a perfect reflector of infrared radiation. It never rusts. It never corrodes. If you were an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, traveling across the stars, gold would be the ultimate material. You would need it for your circuitry, your spacecraft shielding, your energy transmission. So let's re-examine the ritual. The local people mine the gold. They refine it. And then, at a specific location, they deposit it into the water. Was this worship? Or was it a supply drop? Were the Muisca people unknowingly working as a ground crew, refueling the craft of their celestial visitors? The Spanish drained the lake in 1545 and found only a fraction of the gold. The rest? Gone. Or perhaps collected. Part 2. The Golden Machine. But the link between gold and advanced technology isn't limited to the jungles of South America. If we cross the ocean to the deserts of the Middle East, we find an artifact that is perhaps the most famous and most dangerous gold object in human history, the Ark of the Covenant. We all know the story. It was the chest built by Moses to hold the Ten Commandments. But have you ever read the blueprints? In the book of Exodus, chapter 25, the instructions given to Moses are not vague. They are incredibly precise, almost like an engineering manual. Moses is told to build a box of acacia wood. Then, he is commanded to overlay it with pure gold, inside and out. Finally, he is told to place a gold cover, the mercy seat, on top, with 2 golden cherubim, angels, with their wings touching. Stop for a moment, forget the theology, look at the physics. If you take a non-conductive material, like wood, and sandwich it between 2 layers of a conductive metal, like gold, you have created something very specific. In modern electronics, we call this a capacitor. A capacitor is a device designed to store electrical energy. The Ark was not just a box, it was a massive, high-voltage capacitor. Based on the dimensions given in the Bible, scientists have calculated that if the Ark were charged, perhaps by the static electricity of the desert, or a power source we don't understand, it could hold a charge of thousands of volts. This changes everything. Suddenly, the miracles surrounding the Ark start to look like technological functions. The Bible says the Ark would glow, it would hum, it would emit a strange light. And most terrifying of all, it was lethal. There is a chilling account in the 2nd book of Samuel. A man named Uzzah is helping transport the Ark on a cart. The oxen stumble. Uzzah reaches out his hand to steady the Ark. The moment his fingers touch the gold, he drops dead, instantly. But to a modern electrical engineer, that doesn't look like anger. That looks like a lethal electric discharge. Notice the details. Who was allowed to approach the Ark? Only the high priests. And what did they have to wear? The Bible describes ephods, special garments woven with specific threads and gemstones. Were these merely ceremonial robes, or were they protective gear? Faraday cages designed to ground the priest and protect him from the radiation, or high voltage emitting from the device? This leads us to the ultimate question regarding the Ark. If it was a machine, what was it for? The Israelites carried it into battle. It brought down the walls of Jericho. Was it a sonic weapon? A directed energy weapon? Or was it, as the Bible explicitly states, a device to talk to God? Exodus 25:22. There I will meet with you. And from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim that are on the Ark of the Testimony, I will speak with you. 2 winged figures, gold tips facing each other, an electrical charge running between them. That is the exact description of an electrical arc transmitter, a radio. Was Moses hallucinating? Or was he receiving instructions through a gold-plated transmitter, left behind by an intelligence that understood the power of conductivity long before we discovered electricity? Part 3. The Impossible Minds. The recurring theme is impossible to ignore. In Colombia, gold is thrown into the water to connect with the gods. In Israel, gold is used to build a device to speak with the gods. In both cases, gold is the medium. It is the bridge between the primitive human and the advanced other. But this theory faces a major problem. To have enough gold to throw into lakes or cover giant chests, you need to mine it. You need a massive industrial operation. And according to mainstream history, early humans were simple hunter-gatherers. They didn't have the tools, the manpower, or the reason to dig deep into the Earth's crust. Or so we thought. Because deep in the heart of Africa, there is a hole in the ground that shouldn't exist. A mine that is so old, it rewrites the entire history of the human species. We travel now to the border of Swaziland and South Africa. Here lies a place that defies the timeline of evolution. It is called the Lion Cavern. In the late 1970s, the Anglo-American Corporation, one of the largest mining companies in the world, sent teams to investigate ancient workings in this area. They expected to find mines from a few hundred years ago. What they found shook the scientific community to its core. Carbon dating of charcoal remains found deep within these tunnels revealed that mining activities were taking place here as far back as 43,000 BC. Some estimates even push this date back to 100,000 years ago. Let's pause and look at the timeline. 100,000 years ago, humans were supposed to be primitive nomads. We were fighting predators. We were living in caves, not digging them. Mainstream archaeologists argue that these early humans were mining for hematite, red ochre, to use as body paint for cave drawings. But does that make sense? Ask yourself, would a primitive man, whose only concern is finding his next meal, spend his days in total darkness, digging narrow tunnels 50 feet underground, hauling tons of rock to the surface, just for some cosmetic red powder? The caloric energy required for that work would kill him. It is illogical. It is suicide. Unless he wasn't doing it for himself. Unless he had no choice. This brings us to the most compelling piece of the ancient alien puzzle. If early humans were mining gold and minerals before they had a use for them, who were they digging for? Part 4. The Creators. To answer this, we must leave the mines of Africa and look at the very first instant civilization in human history, Sumer. Located in modern-day Iraq, the Sumerian civilization appeared seemingly out of nowhere around 3800 BC. They gave us the first writing system, the first wheel, and the first laws. And they left us thousands of clay tablets. When we translate these cuneiform texts, they don't speak of a slow evolution. They speak of the Anunnaki, which literally translates to those who from heaven to earth came. According to the interpretations of researchers like Zecharia Sitchin, these texts tell a specific, terrifying story. They describe the Anunnaki arriving on Earth from a planet called Nibiru. But they didn't come as explorers. They came as desperate refugees. The texts suggest that the atmosphere of their home planet was decaying. They needed a way to reflect radiation and hold in heat. And the only material capable of doing that is gold. This aligns perfectly with modern science. Today, NASA uses gold on the mirrors of the James Webb Telescope to reflect infrared light. We use gold to coat the visors of astronauts to protect them from solar radiation. The Anunnaki needed gold to build a planetary shield, and Earth was rich in it. So they established their operations. They began mining. But mining is brutal work. The Sumerian texts describe a rebellion. The lower caste Anunnaki, known as the Igigi, who were forced to toil in the deep mines of Africa, eventually rose up. They burned their tools. They refused to work. The commanders faced a crisis. They needed the gold to survive, but their workforce had gone on strike. Their solution was not to dig the gold themselves. It was to create a biological machine to do it for them. The texts describe a process that sounds chillingly like genetic engineering. They took a primitive hominid roaming the earth. and spliced their own genetic essence with it. A being intelligent enough to understand orders, hold tools, and fear its masters, but not intelligent enough to rebel. They called this being the Adamu, or the man. This is the dark heart of the theory. We were not created in the Garden of Eden to live in paradise. We were created in a laboratory to work in the mines. This explains the missing link in human evolution. The sudden jump in brain size. The sudden appearance of complex language. And most importantly, it explains our obsession. Think about it. Why do we love gold? It's heavy, it's soft, it's useless for tools. Yet, when we see it, our pupils dilate, our heart rate increases. We hoard it in the basements of our banks. We wear it on our fingers to symbolize love. We put it on our religious statues. If the Anunnaki theory is true, this gold fever is not a cultural trend. It is a hardwired instinct. It is a residual command left in our programming. Find the gold, dig the gold, hoard the gold. We are still gathering the harvest, waiting for the masters to return and collect it. Part 5. The Food of the Gods. But there is one final, deeper layer to this mystery. Perhaps the Anunnaki didn't just need gold for their atmosphere or their machines. Perhaps they needed it for their bodies. In the book of Exodus, the Bible describes a miraculous food that fell from the sky to feed the Israelites. They called it manna, the bread from heaven. It was described as a fine, white substance. But if we look at ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian texts, we find references to something suspiciously similar. They called it Shem Anna, or the Highward Fire Stone. Ancient alchemists believed that if you subjected gold to intense heat and a specific rotation, it would lose its metallic properties. It would vanish and reappear as a fine, white powder. Today, science calls this monoatomic gold, gold atoms that exist in a high-spin state. Why does this matter? Theory suggests that this white gold was not decoration. It was a supplement. It was believed that consuming this substance could turn the body into a superconductor. It could repair DNA, enhance telepathic abilities, and most importantly, stop the aging process. This offers a shocking explanation for the immortality of the ancient gods. They weren't magical beings. They were biological entities using advanced chemistry to extend their lifespans indefinitely. And the gold? It was the primary ingredient for their elixir. Suddenly, the obsession of the ancient pharaohs and emperors makes perfect sense. They buried themselves in gold not because they were greedy, but because they were trying to replicate the diet of the gods. They were not hoarding money. They were trying to manufacture the elixir of life. So, when we see the golden death masks of Egypt, are we looking at art, or are we looking at a desperate attempt to take the secret of immortality into the afterlife? As we look back at the evidence, the gold thrown into Lake GUATAVITA, the conductive design of the Ark of the Covenant, and the impossible mines of the Stone Age, a picture begins to form. It is a picture of a species with amnesia. We have forgotten why we are digging. We have forgotten why we built the pyramids. We have forgotten why we worship the sky. But the gold remains. It sits in our vaults, silent and eternal, waiting. Perhaps we are not the masters of this planet. Perhaps we are merely the caretakers of a mine that is still active. And one day the foreman might come back to check our quota. So, the next time you look at a gold ring or a coin, ask yourself, do you desire it because it is beautiful? Or do you desire it because you were designed to? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to subscribe. Help us plant those trees. I'll see you in the next mystery.